Hello, good evening, and welcome to round two of the Master Race Car Rallycross Championship Season 4 in Live for Speed tonight at Aston Rallycross. It's a custom configuration by the Master Race Car team. We've seen it before. It was, in fact, round one of the 2023 season 3 of this very championship. Welcome along to this 5-round championship. We have some familiar faces from round one with us this evening, but we are going to see plenty of drama and potentially some shake-ups as we have obviously a slightly different track, one that might not be as familiar to some of the drivers. Here it is. It's a 1.7 kilometre worm-like track that weaves its way around Aston Cadet. It uses part of the home straight turn 1 and the corkscrew section with the circuit doubling back on itself to use some of the grass and gravel areas. Tonight's format is exactly the same as the format for round one, 3-lap heats followed by a 4-lap final, and joker laps are expected from every driver in every heat that they compete in. So the drivers will be doing 4 joker laps total throughout the event. Let's have a look at the schedule for the championship then. We are on round 2 of 5. The championship happens every Sunday for the next 3 weeks until we wrap up in February, on February 2nd at Westhill RX2. So a quick and snappy championship, but we like those sorts of things. And we'll expect to see you, hopefully, if you're interested in the next round, or you can continue to join us on the broadcast. Here are the mods that are available for the drivers to choose. There are 6 of them in total, and there are always a good amount of there's always a good amount of variety on the server. So we will hopefully see at least one of each of these in play today. So lots and lots of choice for the drivers, and always great to see such variety in a rallycross class. And again, I'll mention that the mods have been created by quite a few different people. There's Rog Nilsson creating these two in collaboration with Lundqvist Motorsport, and we'll have an interesting kind of time of it, because Tim Dicknotter, who's created some of these mods here, and Rog Nilsson are both competing with each other in the championship. So great to see that as well. It's currently Sindra Silva who leads the way in the overall championship, and we'll have to see how he gets on tonight with having quite an easy time of it last time out. Really, he was involved in some quite straightforward heats, but this is a 5-round championship, so there's bound to be some sort of unpredictability. And we are about a minute away then from the first heats in this round. And let's see if we can take a look at the grids for the first set of heats. It's going to be Sindra Silva, Daniel Lundqvist, Philip Benz, Michael Malik and Timo Saarinen in heat number 1, followed by Rasmus Lindberg, Christopher Bergstrom, Martin Palm, Gerard Formilez, Jimmy Carlson in race 2 in heat 1. Then Jelly Dicknotter, Tim Dicknotter, Nuno Cardozo, Victor Israels in race 3, with Linus Lindberg, Robin Nilsson and Robin Johansson in race 4. 4 races there. And then I think that's actually it. I think we're just going to have the 4 races in heat 1. So here we go for the start of heat number 1 then. We have about 5 seconds to go before the lights will go out for heat 1, race 1. Let's do it. So short and snappy races coming up here. First heat between Sindra Silva, Lundqvist, Benz, Malik and Saarinen. And we are green. And as the drivers all head down to the 90-degree right-hand hairpin, it is, in fact, Daniel Lundqvist with a nose ahead into the first corner. And already the elbows are out. And Michael Malik there in the orange and white. As who's that spearing out in the background? That's Benz having a slightly worse time of it as we head up the hill for the first time this evening. Sindra Silva first into the hairpin. Michael Malik and Timo Saarinen first into the joker. So actually the last 3 going through the joker there. And as they head down the hill, we have a gap opening up, a 1 second gap almost between our leader and P2. The Joker here is not very long at all. It doesn't take very long at all to get through the Joker and back out again, so way less of an impact than we saw in round one. And you'll see all 5 of the cars pretty much in the same camera shot all the way through this one, as Sindra yet again showing the form that he had last time out. So five drivers in his heat this time, and if he stays with this sort of pace and can get a good result here, then he'll have the advantage going into heat 2. Absolutely brilliant through the first sector here, up to the big hairpin. The car's so dynamic over the bumps, and it's starting to get a little bit crowded in the background here. Michael Malik tagging the wall there, and again tagging the wall. That's going to give Teemu Sarkkinen potentially here a run as we head down the hill. And Sarkkinen up the inside then into the penultimate left-hander. And Michael, can he hold it around the outside? There's a big wall of tyres that meets you, and no, Michael pushed into that, and that is a disaster for the first race of his second outing in this championship this year. Silver has now opened up a 2.2 second lead. The only driver not to go through the Joker, however, and I think you only lose about a second and a half. Second to a second and a half going through the Joker, so don't expect Silver to lose too much time here, and he should come out in the lead. The car bottoms out over the crests there, but the line that you take out of the Joker really does set you up nicely for the run down the back straight. And as you see, Silver comes out with a similar lead to what he had going in, so a really nice run from him. Lundqvist solid P2. And let's see what the benchmark race time is then for Sindra Silver, the number 63, as he comes out of the penultimate corner. Just 1 hairpin to go, and a quick blast to the start-finish line. Here he comes. Over the line to finish with a very respectable race time, a 3-minute dead from Sindra Silver. Very nice driving indeed from him. Daniel Lundqvist coming across the line in P2, and Benz coming across the line in P3. So very, very quick heat then, as the grid gets set for race number 2. We can see the final results of race number 1 confirmed on the screen. 3 minutes 0.29 for Sindra Silver. Lundqvist there, 3 seconds back in P2. Teemu Sarkkinen third. Malik 4th, and Benz in 5th. Let's get a look at the grid for our second race. We have Rasmus Lindberg, Christopher Bergstrom, Martin Palm, Gerard Fornelez, and Jimmy Carlson taken to the grid for race number 2. There they are in the background, eager to get going. Lindberg on the left in the red and black, and moving down the order to the left with Jimmy Carlson in the yellow on the far right. And it's a good start from everybody. Everyone bunched up. Oh, but Fornelez gets forced back a little bit. Big sandwich into the first corner. And there we go. Lindberg forced quite wide. Contact coming out of the first hairpin. The same sort of aggressive driving that we saw in round 1. And that's put Lindberg from first to last as we head up the hill for the first time in race 2. And who's that having trouble? That's Fornelez having trouble and deciding to go into the Joker. Jimmy Carlson, forced into the wall, and it's a real pinch point there. A number of drivers being forced into the Joker without necessarily wanting to be there, and well, a lot more drama in this heat. But it's Martin Palm who has the best start of anybody so far in race number 2. Remember, it's all about that the overall race time that these drivers can reach, as we've got Jimmy Carlson heavy into those tyre stacks on the exit of the corner. They spray absolutely everywhere, and Fornelez has actually made up a place that'll be registered on your timing screens now as he comes over start finish. Takes over P4 in this race, and it's Carlson who is at a real disadvantage now, has not gone through the Joker, and finds himself dead last. Will Martin Palm take this opportunity while the track is a little bit clean, a little bit clear to go through the Joker? No, he won't. Will Lindberg decide to go through? Yes, he does. He tags the wall a little bit, and that might bring him into... Oh no, Bergstrom's had a crash. Bergstrom's gone round. And that's a disaster. He got pit maneuvered by Fornelez up the hill. So contact between those two, and a big disadvantage then for Bergstrom, who's going to lose chunks and chunks of time. There was contact between Fornelez and Bergstrom there. As Martin Palm comes around the final corner now to begin his final lap, the last opportunity to take that Joker. And as we head to start finish then, and it is Martin Palm leading, still to serve the Joker. Lindberg in P2 after that difficult start. Good recovery that, up to second place. Here we go up the hill for Martin Palm. Just needs to take that car through the Joker then, and should come out with absolutely no competition and retake the lead, and he does. Followed closely by Lindberg, Fornelez, who I assume will be under investigation. So too will Bergstrom for the incident on the previous lap. Jimmy Carlson there in fourth, and Bergstrom in fifth after that incident. One corner to go for Palm then. And we will see what the race time is. The all-important race time, which sets up the grids for the following heats. And it's a good time, but it's 3 seconds shy of what Sindra Silva managed in the previous one. Lindberg across the line in P2. Fornelez, P3. Carlson will come across the line in P4. Bergstrom will take P5. So another snappy heat for your enjoyment there. And let's take a look at those results. Palm in 3 minutes 3, followed by Lindberg, Fornelez, Carlson, and Bergstrom. We're going to head straight into race number 3. It's going to be between the two Ducnodder. I'm not sure of their relation to one another. I was about to say something I couldn't qualify. So they are related. But there we go. The 52 and the 2, Jelly and Tim Ducnodder, with Nunar Cardozo and Victor Israels. That is race 3. And we'll give you a little bit of a sneak peek of how the standings are looking after the first 2 races of Heat 1. It's Sindra Silva leading the way, and Martin Palm there. You can see their race times, 3 minutes and 3 minutes 3, the fastest 2 race times we've had so far from Heat 1, race 1 and 2. Here comes race number 3 then, with Jelly Ducnodder and Tim Ducnodder on the far left, with Cardozo and Israels on the far right. And here we go, straight away. Off we go, and it's a good start from Tim Ducnodder, who has time to write in the chat while he sets himself up for the grid to confirm that Jelly and Tim, they are in fact brothers. And it's Tim who leads, so we're happy with that, out of the first corner. And Yella is last currently. Oh, as they all head through that tyre stack. I did wonder why there were tyre stacks on the road, and it's come across. It's taken 2 cars out, and in fact, that's a big hit. That's Cardozo having a trip into the barriers as 3 of the drivers take their Joker lap. But Israel's the only driver not to have to take their Joker lap on this occasion. But big collision with the wall there for Cardozo, and it's going to be a hard journey back to the front. Tim Ducnodder sets his sight on a clean victory here, and he'll have Victor Israels for company for now, but he has to do the Joker still. So advantage Tim, which will be music to his ears after round 1, which did not go well at all for him. Didn't have the run of success that he was maybe hoping to have. Here's Yellet coming down to turn 1. Nice bit of opposite lock through there. And Cardozo trying to make up for that impact into the wall at the first kind of major corner of the first lap. Let's see if Israels goes for the Joker. He does in fact do that. So all of the drivers have now been through the Joker, and it's going to be a straight run to the finish. Tim Ducnodder will be focusing on the clock. It's all he will care about, to try and get close to the 3-minute mark that Sindra Silva, the benchmark time in Heat 1 that Sindra Silva has set. Tim tapping all of the tyres, leaving a trail of destruction for the drivers that follow. So definitely sort of a Mario Kart-esque way to leave some tyres in front of your competitors, if you so please. But out of the first corner, Tim Ducknodder had a pretty solid lap, a 58-second lap, and took the fastest time of anybody so far in this race. As we've lost one of the... No, we haven't. Sorry, apologies. We lost one of the competitors, but we've still got 4 running. And just 2 corners to go then for Tim. As Israels has managed actually to close the gap slightly after the Joker, but not going to be close enough to get the first place for himself. 1 hairpin to go for Tim. And then it's a straight shoot for the finish. A good heat for Tim there, followed closely by Israels, and then Cardozo does manage to get past Yele to take P3. That's a good recovery in the end. And then just Yele to come across the line to complete the 4 results there for race number 3. So there we go, another snappy heat and a 3-minute 2 from Tim. That means he'll be 2nd overall in the heats for Heat 1, heat races for Heat 1. Israel's in P2, Cardozo in P3, and Yelet Ducknodder in P4. Take a look at the grid for the next race. While that is set up, it's Linus Lindberg, Robin Nilsson, and Robin Johansson who will take part in the final heat race of the first heat. And we can take a look at the provisional results for Heat 1. And you can see there that Tim Ducknodder does take over that 2nd place in the combined results. Let's head to race number 4 of Heat 1. So just 3 of the cars on the grid at the moment. I think we're waiting for Bergstrom. No, not waiting for Bergstrom. Sorry, there's only 3 in this race. My mistake again. And here we go. Lindberg on the left, Nilsson in the middle, and Johansson on the right. As we look at them, and it's a good start from Nilsson, who has a nose ahead into turn 1, manages to cut across in front of Lindberg. That's crucial. Hooks the right rear over the apex, and that loses a bit of time. Lindberg with a better exit on the outside now for the corkscrew, and they do bang doors. And Lindberg able to avoid drama at the apex, but forced wide. And Johansson is through. And Johansson straight into the Joker. As Lindberg then has to try to salvage something. Actually, Johansson smashes the wall with the rear quarter panel of his car there. That's going to have taken a bit of time out of his run. Don't forget, Nilsson strong in the first round of this championship. He's currently P3 in the overall championship. Daniel Lundqvist in P2 and Sindra Silva leads the way. But Nilsson reaches the final hairpin on lap 1. And we will see whether it's been a good first lap for him. Across the line with a 1-minute 4. That is fairly competitive. He'll need times in the 58s in order to challenge for the top positions out of the Heat 1 races. Up the corkscrew he goes. And it looks absolutely amazing when these cars just fly up there. As the top 2 then head through the Joker. And we'll see where Johansson comes out. And it's right alongside Lindberg, but not enough. As I mentioned before, the exit that you get from the Joker is a little bit of an advantage, really. So Lindberg making good use of the Joker on the 2nd lap. And that means that they're going to have a bit of a fight then for P2. Rog Nilsson has quite a gap at the front. And it's kind of interesting to see how the drivers take the braking zone, as we've got some contact between Lindberg and Johansson then, and Lindberg won't want Johansson to take advantage after nailing him, but it's gone completely wrong between those two. As they both head off down to start finish, they will be fuming, because that's really going to affect their overall race times. And Johansson has to answer for that, really. Ploughed into the back of Lindberg, spun him round, And then contact again meant that they both took so long to get back going again. And Nilsson has been given a free pass to the victory here. No competition from behind whatsoever. But Lindberg and Johansson, well, no love lost after that one, I am sure. Going into the future heat races, this has completely ruined their chances of being high up after round number 1. And with such low numbers of cars in the heats, it's going to be very hard for them to recover for the final. It's going to be probably going to come down to the C, B, and A finals, as they will have to progress through those. As across the line comes Nilsson, followed by Lindberg, and it'll be Johansson taking third place in this one. So another quick heat, and more drama in that one than in any of the others in heat number 1. Rog Nilsson, 3 minutes 3, so the slowest of the heat times for Nilsson, followed by Lindberg and Johansson, means that was a pretty slow heat. There are some investigations going on as we speak, and we're not going to progress, I hear, until those have been looked at. So that's big news from race control. The incidents in heat 1 are going to be looked at before we head through into heat number 2. So we can leave these results on the screen for a little bit because you can see what it means for the results. We've got Robin Nilsson, in fact, winner in race 4, qualifies only 5th in the combined results. So a very slow final heat. But there, down the order, you can see the affected drivers from that heat. You've got Lindberg and Johansson down on the second list there. So yeah, pretty upsetting for them for sure. But Sindra Silva, he'll be happy. Tim Dicknodder, a good start to round 2, and Martin Palm sneaking in there in P3 with a good time in his first heat race. So as I mentioned, there's going to be a bit of an investigation before we can progress through to heat number 2. So we'll take a little bit of a break before we find out what's happened there. Stick with us and we'll bring you heat 2 racing as soon as those race control decisions have been reached. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to coverage of the Rallycross Championship Season 4 by Master Race Car. We have a result from the investigation by Race Control, and I think we can bring those to you now. I think we have a disqualification for the number 86, which is Robin Johansson, and 55, that is Fornelez. So we'll bring that up on the graphics. See that reflected in the Heat 1 results. DSQs for Gerard Fornelez and Robin Johansson there. So they will take no further part. Well, they were disqualified from Heat number 1. They can still take part in the next heats, but their results will not count towards the first heat. So yeah, they're going to get different grids than they would have otherwise had from their results. Let's head to the track for heat number 2. Here are the grids for such, as we have drivers getting ready in the background. It's Linus Lindberg, Jelle Dicknodder, Christopher Bergstrom, Robin Johansson and Gerard Fornelez who are going to streak past your camera shot now as they head down to turn number 1. And it's contact already. Bergstrom being forced very wide into a pirouette. Very unlucky there as Lindberg leads. Who's that? Johansson up the hill. As we've got Fornelez and Jelle also in the mix here. As Bergstrom's already got past Jelle Dicknodder. As Fornelez goes into the Joker, so too does Bergstrom, so too does Jelle. And they're all out and running again, but it's Lindberg who leads ahead of Johansson into heat number 2 we go. So race control with a slick decision, kind of penalising 2 of the drivers in this heat. Johansson and Fornelez both receiving disqualifications from heat 1, why they have been put into the first heat of heat race of heat 2. And it's Lindberg and Johansson who still need to give us a Joker lap. As we head up the hill then for the second time. The gap between our race leaders is 1.8 seconds as they both go through the Joker, and Fornelez is going to come out just alongside Johansson, and luckily there's no contact, both of them giving each other room on this occasion. So a clean end to this race, but unfortunate really for Bergstrom, who was involved in that turn 1 incident, spun around, managed to get back up to P4 at the moment and closes in on Fornelez. Right on board through the final couple of corners. So using the grass on the outside of the kind of entry into that final hairpin to get the car turned around, and you can see how quickly these cars accelerate. The rest of the cars ahead of him just disappear on the power. And a nice controlled drift through turn number 1. You can see his competitors up ahead of him, but he knows this is the final lap and it's going to be really, really difficult to gain that time back. Out onto the grass again. It's going to cut back onto the track over the curbing. Maintains the drift all the way up to this kind of double apexed hairpin, and then out onto the grass as we head back down the corkscrew over the gravel. So an unusual kind of view of Aston Cadet that we're getting here, and it looks like we're fairly close for second as Johansson goes into the penultimate corner just ahead of Fornelez. And Lindberg approaches the final corner to give us the first result of heat number 2. A clean heat after the first hairpin as Fornelez goes slightly wide. But it is Lindberg who takes a dominant victory there in race number 1 of heat 2. So here are those results confirmed. Lindberg, Johansson, Fornelez and Bergstrom with Jelle Dicknodder there last in P5. Let's see the grids for race number 2, shall we? That'll be between Rasmus Lindberg, Michael Malik, Nuno Cardozo, Jimmy Carlson and Philip Benz. And that'll be coming up in just a minute's time. Here we go for race number 2 then. Cardozo in the middle, Michael Malik to his right, our left, and Jimmy Carlson in the yellow, with Lindbergh in the red and black, and Philip Benz in the speed machine, as we've got 5 cars trying to get into one spot down into turn 1, and somehow Lindbergh manages, despite sliding all across the track, manages to get out of turn 1 in the lead. As we head up to the corkscrew for the first time, we're watching Cardoso here with the Portuguese flag on that roof into the wall. Almost thought he was going to be forced into the Joker by Michael Malik there, but takes over P2. Lindbergh not heading through the Joker on this occasion either. So just Carlson and Benz taking that Joker on the first lap. That's Michael Malik trying to, gets muscled out of the way by Carlson there, and gets forced to the back and pummeled again by Benz. Benz has not had a good run of it at the moment, but into the final hairpin, Michael Malik fancies to go back at Carlson and shows him how he feels. Bit of a slap again, a bit of a slap across the track for Benz. Oh, and Carlson there with a bit of a revenge tap on Michael Malik. It's starting to get quite elbows out here in race number 2. That was a deliberate move, seen quite clearly on the camera there. So definitely the red mist descending on a number of drivers, and race control will have seen that, and they will investigate at the end of the race. No deliberate crashes like that are acceptable. Doesn't matter what happens at the rest of the race, you just have to keep it clean, keep it as clean as you can. No need for any of that, as Lindbergh comes down the hill for the second time with a 1.7 second advantage. Cardoso and Malik still yet to serve their Joker, as Michael goes very wide again. He's not got that line well at all, and again contact on the exit with Benz, who's put a little bit out of shape. Michael trying to force it through on the inside, and it's just not working out for Michael in this heat at all. Benz has to kind of run away at this point and hope that Michael doesn't attack him again, because that's the second time that we've seen Michael a little bit ragged into that final hairpin. But Michael has got a good exit, and we'll see what happens here. Very different cars as we head up the hill. And Michael kind of has to go to the Joker there, the only driver that owes us that Joker lap. And he comes out and does sort of an undercut, which looks quite nice on camera, behind Carlson. But Lindbergh is already down at the penultimate corner, so the camera pans to him. And that was a dramatic heat. That's the most dramatic heat I think we've had so far. Some aggressive driving, and Robin Lindbergh will be none the wiser to most of it as he comes out of the final hairpin to take victory in race number 2 of Heat 2 here in round number 2 of the Master Race Car Season 4 of the Rallycross Championship. So here we are for the results. Robin Lindbergh, Cardoso, Benz, Malik and Carlson. And that is the end of race number 2. Let's get the results for, get the grids for race number 3 and see how that's going to stack up. So race number 3 will be between Daniel Lundqvist, Robin Nilsson, Victor Israels and Teemu Sarkinen. That'll be coming up in just a moment's time. Before we reach the final race in Heat 2, which is going to be between our current overall leaders, Sindra Silva, Tim Ducknodder and Martin Palm. And here you can see, you will be able to see the current running results from Heat 2. Linus Lindbergh, who leads Rasmus Lindbergh. Very, very close. Only 2.5 tenths of a second in it. But at the bottom, we've got Jimmy Carlson, who was involved in that dramatic race with Michael Malik and Christopher Bergstrom in the previous race. As the grid is now ready for race number 3. So here we go. And in this one, we've got Daniel Lundqvist, Robin Nilssons, Victor Israels and Teemu Sarkkinen. And as we go green, it's a good start from everybody. Nobody napping at the wheel, but a slightly worse start for Teemu Sarkkinen, who drops straight to the back. Not always a bad thing, because it does mean you can stay out of some of the drama into turn one, as we see. And Teemu's going to get a good run there on Daniel Lundqvist, as who's that that's been forced very wide? It's Victor Israel's on the very, very back there, as it's Teemu Sarkkinen who actually edges out everybody up the hill, but hard into the barrier. That's going to give Lundqvist back the lead. Oh, and they both tagged each other, and they're going to have to head through the Joker together. A little bit lucky that that's where the Joker is, because otherwise they would have been forced out into the wall, and that may actually give Israel's the best run. Oh no, it's actually been overtaken there by Lundqvist, and now Sarkkinen, and it's sorry, no, Lundqvist leads into the first corner. It's Nilsson who got back through in that yellow machine. And Sarkkinen then muscled all the way back down to the back of our 4-car grid as Lundqvist exits the final corner in the lead. Nilsson overtaken there by Israels. And Sarkkinen then with a lot of work to do. As we head up the hill, just Israels and Lundqvist to give us a Joker, and Israels is going to do it right now. That's going to free Nilsson and Teemu Sarkkinen, but is Israels going to be able to get back through? No, he's not. So very, very close battle then for P2, and a fair fight because all of them have done their Joker, but Lundqvist is leagues ahead. He's 2.5 seconds in the lead, so he's not going to have to worry at all about his Joker. He just needs it to go smoothly without any drama, and he should retake the lead of race number 3. So up to the final corner on lap 2 we go, and our attention will be fixed entirely on these 3 at the back, as Robin Nilsson now breaks away ever so slightly. Israel's getting the back of his car stepped out quite a long way to try and get the best exit he can. It's not worked. Sarkkinen with a better exit comfortably at the moment. As they round this kind of double apex hairpin, they're all side by side, all alongside each other into there. Absolutely brilliant from the helicopter shot here as they head back down the hill for the final time in this race. And Teemu Sarkkinen is looking for the move. Daniel Lundqvist is going around the final corner, but Teemu Sarkkinen is looking for a move up the inside. It's not worked. He's not got the angle. Tags Nilsson a little bit. We're going to have to switch to Lundqvist to see him across the line, but it's side by side into the final corner. Sarkkinen and Nilsson will get an as Lundqvist crosses the line, Nilsson pushed up onto 2 wheels, forced to the back, and my, was that Victor Israels that came into him at the very last moment to kind of force him up onto 2 wheels, and pushes him down to the back of the grid, back of the results for that heat. So dramatic finish there. The camera cut away just before we saw exactly what happened, but on our timing, as we see it, objectively, it's 3 minutes 3 for Lundqvist. Israel's 2 seconds adrift. Sarkkinen a further, 0.03 of a second only between those two. And Nilsson muscled from 2nd to 4th at the very end of that race. So awesome stuff. The final race will be between Sindre Timdiknodde and Martin Palm. And here comes that race right now. The last race of heat number 2 is set, and it's between the top 3 in the results as we currently speak. Sindre Silva, Timdiknodde and Martin Palm. This is going to be a good one. Timdiknodde in the middle there. And we are green. Sindre with a nose ahead, but Palmer's got a good start as well. Tim will be a little bit of a disadvantage coming out of the hairpin, but he's got a good exit. And Sindre Silva is absolutely amazing off the blocks. He can pick the right line to get into the lead, regardless of the order. And, well, demonstrating a great start again as Tim and Palm go into, Tim and Martin head into the Joker lap. And that's going to give Silva a bit of breathing room then to try and open that gap up again, as he has all the way through. He's only had one difficult heat race, and that was the final heat race he was involved in last time at Blackwood. But no such drama so far this evening in round number 2. Sindra up the hill. A better exit, I think, by the looks of it, from Tim. I don't think Silver's exit was as good. As we go over start finish, 1.3 seconds. Tim pushing. And Palm drifting back a little bit. So the guys really here have spread out quite a bit as Tim clouts one of those tyres on the corkscrew. Continue to follow him. Nice line through the double right, and Silver is going to have the advantage coming out of the hairpin. You can see how much of an overspeed they have coming out of the Joker, and actually the gap's gone up. It went up in the first sector. We'll get an update here of what it is again. I think it will be below a second. Yep, 7/10 of a second only. So a great Joker that for Silver, and the order remains the same as we head on to the final lap. Then there's one hairpin to go on the second lap. And it's a pretty close heat this. It will be a fast one too. The drivers relatively close to one another. And a 58.4 from Silver there. Brilliant lap. Even with a Joker. That's incredible that he set the fastest lap. And he made the Joker lap on that lap too. So that shows everyone else the pace that Sindra Silva has in reserve. Incredible to set your fastest lap on your Joker lap. But there we are. That is what he has done. Tim, at this point, will be pretty happy to have P2 in his hands after a performance like that. As we head down the hill again, Martin Palm has sight of Tim, but it's not going to be enough unless something miraculous happens into the final hairpin. As we switch focus to the yellow and black of Sindra Silva. Sorry, pink and black. I'm not colourblind, I promise, as we head over start-finish. It's another fantastic race time for Sindra Silva, almost, in fact, underneath the 3 minutes. Kind of 3 minutes there. And there we are, the final results. 3 minutes, 0.03. Incredible from Sindra Silva. Noda and Palm have the next 2 positions. Sort of a default podium for those guys. As we will flash up the results for heat number 2, it's Sindra Silva who has that top spot still with the best time. And we've got some investigations happening for heat 2 still in the background, so we may have a bit of a delay as we get ready for heat 3, but I'm sure, as was seen in heat 1, race control will have that pretty much wrapped up fairly quickly. So in the meantime, while those heats, that heat is being investigated, let's look at this list and see who is going to be the one to look out for. The ones to look out for in heat number 3. Well, Sindra, obviously, another very, very fast race time. 3 seconds faster, 3.2 seconds faster than anyone else in that heat. Tim Dicknotter, solid P2. Daniel Lundqvist, P3. And I'm hearing we should have provisional grids for heat 3, though I don't seem to have the graphics for them just yet. But we'll hang fire until we get those. So we don't yet have grids, but we are going to be patient and wait for those. The number 94 has been disqualified from heat 2. So that was Jimmy Carlson in the yellow. That will be the incident with Michael Malik that we saw. So Jimmy Carlson, the receiver of a disqualification in heat 2. And well, we did see some argy-bargy between both drivers. From where I was standing, they were both having some elbows out, but the race control determining that Carlson was the main offender there, and there is some frantic discussion going on on the server regarding that incident. So potentially a small wait here before we get going for heat number 3. But thanks very much for tuning in to coverage of the Master Race Car Rallycross Championship here in Live for Speed. Season 4 well underway, plenty of drama and plenty of talking points, mainly that Sindra Silva is absolutely knocking it out of the park at the moment. Doing an excellent job in this championship so far, and it's great to watch him go from strength to strength. But we will bring you coverage of Heat 3 just as soon as we can. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Master Race Cars Rallycross Championship Season 4. There are a number of talking points that have been discussed by Race Control, including a disqualification for Jimmy Carlson from the results of heat number 2, also a warning for Michael Malik for excessive contact on the final corner of lap number 2, and that should be reflected in the results for heat number 2, which we will bring you right now. There you can see Jimmy Carlson with that disqualification forces him to the back of the combined results for heat 2, and that's going to have a knock-on effect again for the grids for heat 3, which I should be able to bring you now. And there you can see Christopher Bergstrom, Jelle Dicknodder, Robin Johansson, Gerard Fornelez and Jimmy Carlson are going to be the 5 drivers in your first race of Heat 3, coming up in just a moment's time. So exciting grids for this third heat. You can see that the grids for the final race in this heat are exactly the same as they were before. No change in our top 3. As we head to the track then, and the grid is set, and a nice looking grid it is indeed, as Bergstrom there almost colliding with the final apex, and it is really a pinch point down into turn 1 as Carlson sandwiched a little bit, but able to get to make a jump straight to the front. Robin Johansson forced all the way to the very back, although manages to get past Jelle Dicknodder very, very quickly. Oh, but spinning round, just manages to get the car back under control. Oh, and who's that? As Bergstrom into the wall of the Joker lap, pirouetting through the air, and that will absolutely spell the end of his heat. That car is destroyed, and Carlson and Johansson, more contact between these two, wall riding down the hill, and there's going to be a flip. No, the car stays on 2 wheels, but drama in the third heat. Race number 1, absolute chaos from these guys. There's going to be some fireworks and upset drivers at the end of this one, that's for sure. Jelle Dicknodder completely unscathed in all of this. So too is Fornelez. This is Sufor for anyone that wonders. TAV Sufor competing in the Rallycross Championship and doing a good job of it at the moment in heat number 3. Johansson muscles his way into P2 in the race. Carlson there now having an absolute mare through the first corner. That's going to allow Jelle Dicknodder to have a chance here and see if he can get up alongside. No, not quite. So Carlson able to continue in P3. Sufor Fornelez through the Joker there cleanly and without any competition. But look at this, absolute chaos in the background. Johansson through the Joker and makes ground again on Jimmy Carlson as we head down the hill. But it could have been the end of his race. Johansson on 2 wheels at this point last time, up against the wall with Carlson underneath his car. As Johansson through and into P2 once again. Dicknodder currently in P4, but where is Bergstrom? Has Bergstrom been able to salvage anything from this race? The car's still moving, but look at the damage to the front left and along the left side of that car. Absolutely destroyed from the contact with the barriers before. But no such issues for Forneless here. As we head up the hill and into this double apex. Very, very tricky corner, but seemingly enjoyed by the drivers. And then it's Johansson, followed by Carlson. Worst line, definitely a tricky line that from Carlson. Didn't get that as smoothly as he would have liked. But a dramatic first race in Heat 3, that the tension and the drama is going up and up and up in these races, and now there's a field of tyres left for Johansson and Carlson and Dicknodder. Oh, Dicknodder sent into the tyres, and out of the final corner comes Fornelez to win Heat 3 race 1. Next cross line will be Johansson, followed by Carlson, then Dicknodder, and we wait for Bergstrom, who's had a bad run of luck so far in these heat races, and it doesn't get any better. It's going to be a long road back from the C final for him at this rate. But let's not write the results until they are written. Fornelez wins in 3 minutes 5. Then it's Johansson and Carlson taking the podium in race number 1. Have a look again at our grids. So race number 2 is going to be between Teemu Sarkkinen, Nuno Cardoso, Michael Malik, Linus Lindberg, and Philip Benz. That's coming up in just a moment's time. So the drivers are out onto the track, and we'll get our grid in just a moment's time. But let's have a look at the at the grid one more time. Sarkkinen, Cardozo, Malik, Lindberg, and Benz. And here they are, Malik in the middle, with Linus Lindberg in the green and black, Cardozo in the orange and black, with Sarkkinen on the left of shot, and Benz on the far right as Malik gets a good start. He's got a nose ahead of everyone as we head down into the first corner. And it's Teemu Sarkkinen with the best launch of the lot in this heat so far. The three at the back going to be all together as they head into the corkscrew for the first time. But it's Lindberg and Benz with drama at the back, and Benz hard into the wall. All three of these guys seemingly forcing themselves through the Joker lap. I don't think Benz had much of a choice as he piles into Lindberg, and they each get through Cardozo. Cardozo with a poor exit there, and getting passed by two of his competitors out of the Joker as they all head down the hill together. But it's Teemu Sarkkinen who leads the way. Not streaming on Twitch tonight, but you can catch his Twitch channel there at Thamuli_, as we've got a big spin at the back. We've got Linus Lindberg having a big spin. Contact with Benz potentially down into the penultimate corner. Just about missed that on the camera as Cardozo makes his way through on Benz. So recovering well from an incident, well, a bad exit out of the Joker on the previous lap. Just Sarkkinen and Malik who now owe us that Joker. As Thamuli that riding the bumps nicely, and Malik will follow him as we run through onto the end of lap number 2. We ride on board with Michael Malik in what is a far simpler interior, or far less complicated interior than some of the other cars that are on display today. But hard into the tyre barrier for Malik, and that's going to spray tyres in front of Cardozo and the drivers that follow. We head out onto the home straight. Cardozo's hit the hairpin apex and has been passed by Benz. So the action seemingly happening off camera tonight. But anyway, we'll try and get luckier with the action that we're picking up on as these two run up to the corkscrew. We're going to see Sarkkinen and Malik both giving us that Joker out. Here we go, Sarkkinen, followed by Michael. And then Benz will be next as Cardozo takes a slightly wider line to try and get a better exit, but it just hasn't worked. And Linus Lindberg able to catch up and potentially could have a run here down the hill. And it'll be important for Linus to get through, because you can gain a lot of time just by being ahead of the driver that you're trying to beat. Lots of tyre sprayed in the way, and that hurts Cardozo, but across the line comes Teemu Sarkkinen to win race number 2 of Heat 3, closely followed by Michael Malik. Then it'll be Benz. And let's take a look then at the results of Heat 3, race number 2. Sarkkinen wins in 3 minutes 3, followed by Malik and Benz, with Linus Lindberg and Cardozo there in P5. All right, let's have another look at our grids graphic to see that Daniel Lundqvist, Robin Nilsson, Rasmus Lindberg, and Victor Israels are going to be taking part in race number 3 of Heat 2. That's going to be coming up in just a moment's time. The drivers are being summoned to the grid. We're just waiting for Rasmus Lindberg to join. There he is. And we are going to be getting started right away. There is our beautiful looking grid. Robin Nilsson in the focus of the camera there as we get a look at our lights. And line astern as we head down to turn number 1. It's Lundqvist with the nose ahead. But Robin Nilsson with the advantage up the corkscrew, all side by side between Israel's and Lindbergh there. And well, Israel's into the Joker and immediately kind of blocked by Lundqvist, who hasn't done the Joker yet, but there we are. Good start for Nilsson, clean away. Next we've got Rasmus Lindbergh, sorry, taking a somewhat interesting line out of the penultimate corner, and yeah, didn't go well at all. That super wide, forced into the tyres by Lundqvist, and he will not be pleased about that at all. There is going to be a lot of anger going into these finals, I feel, between the drivers. But that's what happens when your elbows get out during the heats. Robin Nilsson up the corkscrew for the second time and looking very happy with himself. Daniel Lundqvist, Victor Israels. And Rasmus Lindbergh then out of the double hairpin or tap of the wall again. Not going to be happy with himself for the sorts of small mistakes that he's making, but as we head up to the end of lap number 2, we've still got our leader and Lundqvist who need to give us jokers, and it's very close between Lundqvist and Israels. We're going to have a battle on for P2 for sure in this race, as Israels actually loses quite a bit of time out of the final hairpin. Needs to stick close to Lundqvist onto the run up the hill. And we'll see what this looks like from on board with Israels, because Lundqvist is going to go through the Joker now. Israels will not, so too does Nilsson. You can see Nilsson rejoining. Here is Israels, and has he managed to hold the position? He's managed to hold the position. He's managed to, oh well, he made the block, but Lundqvist forced the move, and Lundqvist forces them both around, and well, kind of penalises himself. It's going to be a dreadful heat time for Lundqvist after that. Lindbergh not close enough to capitalise, but it looked like Israels had done enough to block the attack, but a push in the rear sent them both sideways, and Israels was able to hold on to the place. So it's across the line for Nilsson. It will be Israels in P2. Followed by Lundqvist, and then Lindbergh taking up the final place. So race results then. 3:02, a good heat time from Robin Nilsson. Israels with some drama with Lundqvist holds on to P2. Lundqvist will be kicking himself maybe a little bit there for losing so much time. 8 seconds adrift from our race leader, 3:10 race time. And Lindbergh there, 11 seconds off the lead in P4. Get a look then at how the results are currently stacking up for the races. You can see Robin Nilsson currently leads, but that's all going to change as we head into the final heat race between Linus Lindbergh. Sorry, not that one. The heat race here is going to be between Sindre Silva, Ducnoda, and Martin Palm as they streak past the back of your camera shot there down to turn number 1. And it's Sindre Silva on the inside on Tim Ducnoda with Martin Palm in third place. The same exact heat that we saw last time out, and the same order currently that it was in that race as well. But let's see if anything changes. Can Tim force anything? Martin Palm goes to the Joker early, and Tim has a wheel up the inside. This is crucial for his race. Oh, but it's side by side, door-to-door contact. This is advantage to Martin Palm at this point, who stayed completely out of this action and creeps up behind them both. Tim trying to find something, any opportunity to try and get past Silver, and it's not worked out. It's cost them both time. Martin Palm there will be aware that that's happened, and will see the opportunity to take over P2 in this race once Tim does the Joker. But Silver now needs to try and stretch his advantage. He knows he has that one lap pace. Can he open the gap enough to save himself? And it looks like he already has. So really all eyes on Tim to see if he can do enough to keep his P2, which at this point, it looks like he might have done as well. But yeah, let's see if anything else happens as we approach the Joker one more time. Will Silver just get it done now, or is he going to stretch his advantage? He's going to stretch his advantage. Tim goes into the Joker. Let's see how he will handle the exit. Martin Palm is there as a roadblock, and Tim has not managed to get out ahead. Martin Palm changes the order from the last time and takes over P2 in the final race of heat number 3. This is crucial for the finals. Remember, these three fighting amongst themselves really, but it's all about the race time. So if Tim and Martin squabble for the final few turns of this race, it could really affect the finals grids as we head to the final lap for Sindra Silva. He has a 3-second lead over Martin Palm, and it's going to get close in the background, I feel. So we're going to keep an eye on this battle for the final lap as we watch from the rear of Martin Palm's car, a somewhat different line to Tim up the corkscrew, as Sindra Silva is in the Joker. Don't think that he's going to have to worry anything about these two as they go side by side. Rubbing is racing. That was fair enough. And Tim just needs to find something in the last 2 corners if he wants to take over P2. But ultimately, he probably just needs to focus on the race time at this point because the gap is opening up and up and up. He'll want P2 for himself, but you've got to look at the bigger picture as well. As Martin Palm sprays a few tyres in the way, it's not going to matter. As round the final corner comes Sindra Silva, and Martin does a good job of blocking Tim, but over the line comes Sindra Silva to win, followed by Martin Palm for P2 and Tim Dicknotter taking over P3, a change in the order from the previous heat. So the battle for P2 very much still alive, but golly, what a race from the two at the back there, and an amazing race time from Sindra Silva. Once again, it's a 3-minute 0.27, not quite under the 2-minute, under the 3-minute barrier, but still very, very fast time indeed. 4.5 seconds back to Martin Palm and 5.4 seconds back to Tim Dicknotter. So we can take a look then at the combined results of heat number 3. Sindra Silva leads the way. Robin Nilsson takes over P2. Tiimi Sarkinen P3. Michael Malik P4. Martin and Tim P5 and 6 in these results. So you can see just how much time they lost in that battle with each other. Forces them down quite a lot. So as the grids are set for the finals, it will be based on those on the heat times that were shown. We have a disqualification already that was shown on our results graphic. That's Gerard Fornelez Sufor has received a disqualification. I'm not sure what that was for. I'm going to try and find out. Causing an avoidable incident, heat 3, run 1, lap 1 for Fornelez. So wasn't happy with the race control. Weren't happy with the first lap of that heat. So Fornelez receives a DSQ, and no results will be put forward from his heat 3 into our finals grids. So we're just waiting for the finals grids to be confirmed for us, and then we're going to show that on the screen. But race control still poking the buttons to do the calculations to work out how the finals are going to stack up. It takes a little bit of time because we need to make sure we get this right, and we need to make sure that the incidents are all dealt with. And so we have as fair grids as possible going into the finals as possible. The finals grids are now confirmed. Sindra Silva, Tim Dicknotter, Robin Nilsson, Martin Palm, and Daniel Lundqvist currently in the A final. Tiimi Sarkinen, Rasmus Lindberg, Victor Israels, Michael Malik, Linus Lindberg currently in the B final. And Robin Johansson, Philip Benz, Nuno Cardoso, Jelle Dicknotter, Jimmy Carlson, and Christopher Bergstrom will take part in the first race of our finals, as we have the gridding happening for that. The winner of the C final is going to get promoted to the B final. The winner of the B final then will be promoted to the A final. So anybody in our entire round is still capable, theoretically, of winning this event, which is always exciting. So yeah, keep your eyes peeled for who that might be. Who do we think might be promoted from the C final? Well, based on the combined times, you can see there that Robin Johansson has possibly the best chance of being promoted to the B final. His best two heat times combined to be 6 minutes 17. But the top three in that C final are super close. Only 7/10 separating P1, 2, and 3 in that C final. So that's going to be fairly exciting. Then, as we look at the B final, a little bit more strung out in this one. Teemu Sarkkinen with a bit more of a clear advantage. And, well, the A final is looking quite a picture, isn't it? 5.7 seconds, the advantage that Sindre Silva had going into the A final. He does lead the championship, but Tim Dicknodder will be happy to have edged out Robin Nilsson in that one to take P2. We wait to see what happens in the finals, which is sure to be fairly exciting, I reckon. So the race has been ended and the grids are going to be set for the C final now. And remember, the winner of this will take the 6th spot in our B final. And the winner of the B final will take the 6th spot in our A final. It's as simple as that. Anyone can still win it, but we have to assume that someone has got to work very hard to be promoted from the C to the A final. It's happened in the past, and never say never. 2 more drivers left to ready up, Johansson and Benz in the background, before we will have the grid on the track for this race. And there we go then. The podium is in the background, ready for whoever wins the A final. But it's Robin Johansson who is in the hot seat on the far left of your shot. And immediately, Ben's going over to cover Cardozo with Jimmy Carlson, Bergstrom going wide into turn 1. Oh, and there's a spin for Bergstrom. It's been a horrific set of heats for Bergstrom today, and it gets worse into turn number 1. A self-inflicted crash into the apex sends him spinning round. His teammate Ben's currently leading the C final as Cardozo goes into the Joker, followed by Carlson on the first lap. And contact between the two Swedes at the front, Benz and Johansson rubbing together as the Portuguese driver Cardozo spears through into P2. A great move there in the C final. Benz then dropping down the order as Johansson goes into the penultimate corner with a bit of a gap. Oh, Ben's hard into the side of Cardozo, and that is going to get looked at. We have the first car on its side. Carlson has also been spun around there, but Cardozo, you have to say that's completely unlucky. He was wide of the apex, had plenty of room for Benz to come through, and Benz has just clattered into the side of him, sends him into the outside wall, flips over, and the stewards are going to be furious with Benz after that one, I am sure, because Cardozo had absolutely nowhere to go, and Benz has just smashed him into the wall. So a ticking off at the very least for one of these two guys, as Bergstrom has somehow managed to salvage P3 after all of that drama, as Cardozo then is Johansson's backwards at the after the Joker. He's had some coming together with Benz at the exit of the Joker, so Ben's involved yet again. Ben's still I'll get my words out. Still yet to give us a Joker at this part of the race, but Cardozo has actually left the action. He's left the race entirely, obviously, so his car has been removed from the penultimate corner, and these two, the number 20 and the number 21, leaving the final corner together in this 4-lap final. So we're halfway through. Bergstrom, fastest lap, has given us a Joker. Ben's yet to give us a Joker, but seemingly and involved in quite a number of contacts and incidents already in this race. Carlson currently in P3, and Jelle Nodder, for the first time, is running in a clear P4 with Johansson trying to pick up the pieces in the back. It's been a dreadful round for Johansson so far, and it just gets worse at this point. Somehow Bergstrom, from being way at the back, has ended up being way out at the front and could see himself promoted into the B final if things finish the way that they currently are. Race control confirming in my ear that car 21 will be disqualified, so it will be announced at the end of the run to the drivers. But we're getting that news early that car 21 is already disqualified. They're allowed to continue on. No live disqualifications throughout the races, but Benz there, Philip Benz, yeah, deservedly so in my opinion, as he makes his way through turn one ahead of Carlson, and Ben's clearly unhappy about something. Maybe the news has reached him because that was an unusual entry into turn one, and yeah, he's letting the other drivers through. His teammate Bergstrom continues on. Carlson there into P2, and Johansson has closed up to the back of Jelle Nodder, and these two will be side by side as we head into the downhill section. Yeah, and is it going to be a clean overtake? We're going to see one of them. I haven't seen many of them today, but at the moment it looks pretty good. No, a bit of a tag, but really as clean as it could have been. Johansson gets through up to P3 in this race. Final corner of the final lap for Christopher Bergstrom, and he will be promoted into the A final. It didn't look as though I was going to be saying that at the beginning of the heat, but it does happen in the end. Bergstrom just about managing to get the job done, having spun around at the first corner. Does manage to get through into the final. So let's bring you the race results from the C final. That is on screen now. Cardozo DNFing after being flipped out by the number 21. And yeah, Benz there will be disqualified from the event after that contact with Cardozo. Completely unbelievable, really. Cardozo was minding his own business, took a slightly wider line into the penultimate corner, and Benz just into the side of him and then into the barrier and flips over and causes a follow-on incident with Carlson also losing a lot of time. But anyway, the positives are that Bergstrom is promoted into the B final and will join Linus Lindberg and Michael Malik, Victor Israels, Rasmus Lindberg, and Timu Sarkinen in that B final. So the 6-car B final is being gridded up as we speak, and we will get going as soon as we can for that. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. The B final is now underway as we get the cars on the screen now. And here we go. It's Timu Sarkinen who is going to take off at the very, very front. And we are away. Sarkinen, Lindberg, Israels, Malik, Lindberg, and Christopher Bergstrom promoted from the C final, as we've already got contact into the first corner. Lots of contact. And that is Rasmus Lindberg being forced out wide, 4 wide in the mid-pack, as Linus Lindberg is up to P2. Oh, and we've got cars backwards, 4 cars into the apex at the top of the corkscrew. And again, it's Bergstrom who is caught out. Never say never for him. He could make it up the grid He's done that in the past as Timo Sarkkinen into the Joker. Thought Michael might have followed him, but more after a warning, a big warning from race control. We've had 4 cars involved in a crash at the top of the corkscrew. The driving standards are definitely going to need a look at from race control after this, because despite warnings to the drivers, still we're seeing some pretty big incidents, gnarly incidents, which are kind of destroying the racing for some people here. But anyway, Michael Malik up to P3, and let's see if he can hold it. Tim with the wider line, trying to do the cutback on the exit. Sarkkinen, one of the drivers that's already given us a Joker. Bergstrom at the back, also with a Joker in his record. And Michael Malik will need to open up that gap to Timo before he can rejoin ahead. As they drive in formation, and Michael is just going to stay out. He's going to hold Timo up for one more lap as Lindberg goes through the Joker behind them. Michael forcing Timo slightly wide, and you can see the advantage that Rasmus Lindberg has gained there by taking the Joker behind these two. That could become a problem for not only Michael but Timo as well, as Timo will have more company. Oh, Michael into the bales again. When did he learn to not go wide there? And he's forced to stay on the tarmac. That's going to give Timo a good run, and Timo does get a good run out of the final hairpin. Michael set himself up for a fall there quite nicely. Could not get the line he needed into the final hairpin. And Lindberg then will have to pick off Michael when he goes into his Joker. Victor Israels leads. Will he go for the Joker now? Yes, he does. As Linus Lindberg will try to stay ahead of him. He'll need to position his car. No, he won't even get the opportunity to position his car to block him, because Victor Israels has already pulled away. Michael's hit the apex of the hairpin, and it's going to drop him back behind Lindberg, and a little bit of contact with Timo sees Michael Malik down to 5th place in this race, and yet to serve the Joker as well. So from bad to worse for Michael Malik in this race. Fortunately not last place. Bergstrom currently holds on to that position. As out of the final corner comes Victor Israels to start the final lap of the B final. And there are tyres on the road from the penultimate corner that have been sent over the wall, so our race leaders have to drive through those as well. But it's closing up at the front. Is there anything that Linus can do to close up to Victor on this final lap, the final couple of corners? Neither of them need to do the Joker. Michael will, and that's going to slow him down even further. He won't be able to get close to Rasmus Lindberg at the end of this race. And through he goes. And just one more hairpin to go for Victor and Linus. It's closed up a bit, the gap down to just 1.3 seconds, but Israels has this in hand, and it looks to be, unless there's any drama at the final hairpin, looks to be the driver that will be promoted to our A final after a very decent and clean heat from Victor Israels. He will be the victor. Lindberg P2. Timo Sarkkinen unable to qualify for the A final, P3. Michael Malik coming across the line in P5, just behind Rasmus Lindberg, who takes P4. And then a drift to the finish for our C finalist winner, C finals winner, Christopher Bergstrom, finishing last on this occasion. So let's take a look at the heat results. The results of the B final then. Victor Israels wins and is promoted to the A final. Linus Lindberg, Timo Sarkkinen, Rasmus Lindberg, Michael Malik, and Christopher Bergstrom are your results. A good fast slap there from Israels as well, a 58.61, comparative to the times that we saw from Sindra Silva in the heats that he did. And that is exactly where Victor Israels will find himself in the A final. Let's take a look at those finals grids then. Here they are. Sindra Silva, Tim Dicknodder, Robin Nilsson, Martin Palm, Daniel Lundqvist, and Victor Israels will take over the 6th spot there on that grid. Here we go then for the A final. The cars in the background with the engines at full song. And we are away. It's Sindra Silva with the focus on the outside, with Tim Dicknodder in the middle. Robin Nilsson on the outside there in the Cyan car. And keep an eye out for Daniel Lundqvist somewhere at the back there, with Robin Nilsson in the yellow, making it up to P2. Tim Dicknodder down to P4, forced wide over the crest, and that means that Martin Palmer's been able to get ahead, and now Tim Dicknodder forced all the way to the back. And Robin Nilsson into the apex of the first apex of the double right, and that's promoted Martin Palm to P2 in this race. Victor Israels has been forced all the way to the back then, so not a good start for him, but a dream start for Martin Palm. And Victor Israels has done the Joker with Lundqvist then, so those two serving that very, very early on. But look at this, look at the gap that Silva has already managed to open up. He somehow manages to get away from all of the drama that happens into turn one, such that he just gets a really clean run of it. Lots for the other drivers to learn from Sindra Silva's approach to these races, as it's Robin Nilsson currently in third place, Tim Dicknodder chasing him hard down to the first hairpin. Here they are. Robin Nilsson a bit wide, but Tim able to keep underneath the tailgate and rear spoiler of that car ahead, as Robin Nilsson very getting the car quite sideways coming into the corkscrew, and Tim very aware of that, deciding that he doesn't want any of that nonsense, goes into the Joker, will come out in last place and needs to try and thread the needle through his competitors, but it's just a massive roadblock with Victor Israels and Lundqvist able to get the jump on him, which may mean that Robin Nilsson may be in trouble here from these guys as well. So very, very close battle at the back, as who's that going wide? That's Lundqvist going wide. Victor Israels also going wide, and Tim Dicknodder just losing chunks and chunks of time behind these guys. But no such trouble for Sindra Silva and Martin Palm as they come over start-finish to start lap number 3. Drama in the background. Robin Nilsson is able to pull away. He should be clean through. And Tim Dicknodder's made it up to P5. He's forced his way through Lundqvist at the hairpin. Next, it's Victor Israels if Tim wants to get a better result than 5th in this A final. Silva not choosing to take the Joker on this occasion. Palm is going through the Joker. Let's see if Robin Nilsson goes through. Yes, he does. Where is Victor? Victor is through. Are they going to be able to block Robin Nilsson? Yes, they are. That means, Israels is pushed round. That's going to give Tim Dicknodder a great run. And wow, that's surely going to be some sort of reprimand for Robin Nilsson. Victor Israels has been taken out of this racing completely. So, well, make of that what you want, folks. As Lundqvist tags the back of Dicknodder as well. Fortunately, Dicknodder able to run away up to P3 in a dramatic A final. Sindra Silva comes across the line to start the final lap, completely unknown, unbeknownst to the rest of the field. Just crazy drama here in the A final. Martin Palm clean racing as well in P2. Tim Dicknodder up to P3, and now Lundqvist is harrying him for that final podium place. And there's more contact as we head up towards the corkscrew. And I'm starting to lose my voice a little bit here, as the drama is just getting up to fever pitch. No one needs to serve their Joker. This is a straight run for the finish. Tim Dicknodder's opened the inside for Lundqvist to force the move up the inside. He's forced wide again, and Lundqvist takes over P3 at the death of this race. What can Tim do to get back that podium place? Lundqvist with an inspired move into the double right-hander hairpin gets through and makes up a place, taking over P3, and Tim trying to force the move around the outside. And don't forget, Robin Nilsson is right there as well. But out of the final hairpin for the second time, Sindra Silva wins round 2 with a flurry to the finish. Martin Palm with an inspired drive up to P2 in this race, as Lundqvist gets P3. Dicknodder forced down to P5 as Nilsson takes over P4, and it's all change in this race. Victor Israels robbed of a good result here, and we will have to see what the stewards make of that, because Nilsson turned him around. Tim Dicknodder won't get a podium regardless, I don't think, but there is definitely some question mark over that P4, I think, in this race. Desperately unlucky there for Victor Israels. And the celebrations can begin for Sindra Silva, who wins a brilliant A final. The number 63 in 4 minutes and 1 second, another blisteringly fast race time with a fastest lap of a 58.05, the fastest we've seen all day, and he's already up onto the podium. It's a brilliant podium as well for Sindre Silva. Excellent driving from him all race long, all evening long, in fact. And I don't think he's quite sure which ramp to drive up. Well, to me, it's quite obvious, Sindre. You drive up the middle one, and there he goes. He's finally found it. But yeah, I'll get my breath back, and we'll see if any of the drivers want to come and have a word with me for an interview. But brilliant stuff from Sindre Silva there, as we see the other drivers making their way roughly towards the podium. I don't think any of them have been told what to do. And I think we've got a couple of drivers wanting interviews. They just need to join us here in the commentary box. I think we're going to hear from our round winner, Sindre Silva. As soon as he's ready, he's going to make his way into the commentary box for us. Sindre, well, it seemed to be pretty straightforward in the end, but what a brilliant result. I mean, what did you make of that?
I think it was brilliant. I have a great team around me, a lot of people in the Discord talking with me at the same time, so I'm feeling like I'm having the control I need when we're out there having the pressure on us.
Yeah, I mean, that was absolutely inspired at the end there to take the victory in every single heat race this evening. Seemed to have a little bit of an easier run today than you did in round one. But yeah, talk us through. I mean, how is it that you're able to just it doesn't matter where you start in the heats, even if you're on the tricky inside position, you somehow manage to make that gap and open up that gap so quickly and easily.
Yeah, the inside on this track is really important. So I've been so lucky having the inside every time, trying to just give myself the space into T1. And when I got myself out P1 every time in T1, it's been just a walk in the park afterwards, to just trying to control the pace, control the tires. It's been a big issue with the tires on this track and these cars. So just trying to manage that has been a pain, to be honest. I think that's been for everyone, but yeah, we have tried, and I think we made the best out of it.
Yeah, well, congratulations. It was amazing to watch. I mean, there was so much going on behind you, to be honest, that sometimes we couldn't have you on the cameras because everyone else was tripping over each other. But yeah, are you enjoying the championship so far as we head into round three? You've got a solid lead in the championship now with 2 round wins under your belt.
Yeah, I'm enjoying the stay here, and we have raced some RX Rallycross Championship beforehand, so I'm used to the drivers that we're racing and competing against here. And but when it comes to this series, we have some new and different drivers as well. So you're just looking around and managing everything. The layouts are pretty different, and yeah, a lot of things is different with those two championships. So yeah, we're just trying to make the best out of it, and I pretty much like this car, so I feel home in it.
Well, amazing stuff. I mean, I don't really know what else to ask you because it seemed to be so trivial at the front for you. But yeah, what do you make of the car, and what do you make of the options that are available for the drivers this year in terms of the mod selection for the RX Championship?
I have pretty much just jumped into the what I think is the best looking car. To be honest, I think that's been the thing, and it's always been my thing to. I'm like I want it to look good as well when I'm trying to win. So that's been a key here for us, and I've gotten some great teammates with me as well, putting a lot of hours into the practice part. And yeah, it's been fantastic with the cars and this championship, to be honest.
Well, brilliant stuff. Happy to hear that for sure. As we make our way through to the next round of the championship. And speaking of the next round of the championship, I think the track has been loaded for you to try. We're going to Fern Bay. So for a track that we saw, I think it was the final of the last championship. It was pretty close to the end of the last championship either way. What are your thoughts going into the next round?
Yeah, we raced this one. I'm looking at it now, and it looks pretty similar to the one we raced in the RX where I also won. So I think it will be advantage for sure. But yeah, we will see. We'll put down the hours. So then we will see.
Yeah, absolutely. I've on my calendar, I've got West Hill down as the next round, which I thought was the case, but we'll clarify that for the viewers for next time. But it's currently firmly loaded on the server, but we will see what happens there. It's supposed to be West Hill, but I think that may be an error from whoever's loaded that on the track. So we should be seeing West Hill next time, Sindra, and hopefully we'll be seeing you next time with a good load of action on that track as well.
Yeah, we will try our best. So thanks to all the ERL partners that's gotten their advantage of having a logo on this car as well, and you guys for broadcasting this. It's been fantastic. It's so much better when you guys are putting down this show that you're doing. We can link to our friends and family so they can watch us race, and that's been a fantastic thing. So I hope you will stay around for all the championship that I'm racing as well. But yeah, thanks for the show you guys are bringing on.
No worries. We hope that your sponsors get out of this what they want to have, and yeah, good luck with your real life racing campaign as well, of course. And yeah, thanks for joining us here in the virtual world for RX Championship Season 4, and we'll see you next time. Congrats again.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Sindra, and that pretty much does it for us here on the channel. And it's nice to hear from our race leader, so we're our championship leader, sorry. So we really appreciate the drivers joining us for interviews. It just lends something else to the broadcast, and it's nice to talk to them after the races. So thanks very much. On your screen, you can see the calendar. There has been a confirmation that West Hill will be the next round. It has been set on the server for you to come and practice, and you can find all the information out about that on the LFS website, lfs.net. Go to the leagues and events subforum and check out the Master Race Car Rallycross Championship Season 4. All the information on how to register your interest for this series is available there. If you enjoyed this broadcast, then please consider dropping us a like and a subscription on YouTube. We're at youtube.com/simbroadcasts, and also a follow or a subscription on Twitch is greatly appreciated. It really does help to support our channel and everything that we do here for you and your enjoyment of LFS racing action. We can't do it without you guys. So as an extra perk, you can join the supporters club at simbroadcasters.tv/supporters if you are a subscriber to us here on Twitch. So thank you very much, as always, for your support. We really do appreciate it. So there we go. That's everything from us tonight at Sim Broadcasts for coverage of the 4th season of Master Race Cars Rallycross Championship. Next time we'll be out at West Hill next Sunday, same time, same place, on the 19th of January at 19:20 UTC. From all of us here to all of you, we'll wish you a good evening. Thank you very much to MRC. Thanks very much again to New Dimension Racing as well for their support in this event. And we hope you all have a good night. Have a good week, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.